My sister slept with my husband the night before our wedding, now she's gone, my marriage is shattered, and I'm left picking up the pieces. So, I, 28, female, have been with my husband, 30, male, for 9 years and married for 2. Me and my sister, 26, female, were never really close, but we didn't hate each other. Anyway, I've been suspicious of my husband cheating on me for a while and went through his phone while he slept. I saw a text on a texting app he has on his phone that read, "I really do love you and the love we make, but I'm tired of being your little secret. This has been going on for too long, and you need to tell her, or I will." My heart dropped. I woke my husband up, screaming at him, and showed him the text. He admitted to everything. He just started crying and telling me that the text came from my sister, and they'd been sleeping together since the night before our wedding. He then said she begged him not to marry me, and he told her no, because he loved me. They had sex for the first time that night, and the second time was on her 25th birthday, 3 months later. She threw a party, and we both attended. He went to use the bathroom, and she followed him and seduced him, and he couldn't stop himself. He then came back to the party like nothing had happened, and they continued to have sex anytime they could ever since. He told me the story through sobs, and I couldn't stop crying and screaming. How could he do this to me? And with my sister? I broke stuff in the house, even went full-on waiting to exhale, and burned his clothes on the grill. He begged and pleaded that it'll never happen again, and he'll cut her off, and we can move away from everybody and start over. Justice. And I spit in his face and told him that I hated him and never wanted to see him again. I went to my parents' house that night and told them everything. They didn't believe me at first, but he called me, and I put him on speakerphone while he confessed more, begged and pleaded, and my parents believed everything. The next day, my sister came to my parents' house. She saw me crying on the couch and asked me what was wrong, and I just snapped. I didn't say a word and just beat her ass. She had a black eye, and I knocked a tooth out. My dad broke us up, and my mom slapped her so hard across the face that she started crying. Before I could tell her I knew everything, my mom had already spilled the beans, called her a W, and pushed her outside. She begged my mom to forgive her, not me, and I'm the one she betrayed. Word spread quickly about what happened. He wouldn't stop trying to win me back. He kept showing up to my job, followed me to the bank, popped up randomly in grocery stores, and even made a post on Facebook admitting to what he did and expressing his love and guilt. He accepted all the backlash he got, but I didn't care. I told him to go screw himself. I guess he hasn't been seeing my sister since everything went down, because a friend of mine sent me a screenshot of a post she made saying something like, "I can't believe this." For 2 years, he held me, kissed me, made love to me, and made me feel like I was his world, and just ghosted me like the last 2 years didn't happen. Why is this happening to me? Why can't you just answer the phone? Why don't you love me anymore? I guess people put 2 and 2 together, and she got a lot of backlash, and it wasn't too long before her post was deleted along with her Facebook. I was pissed. This bee had a lot of nerve to cry about my husband. I drove to her apartment and tried to get her to open the door, but she called the police on me, so I left. She had to quit her job because her TO workers found out and shunned her. She had no more friends because they didn't trust her, and my parents refused to speak to or acknowledge her. Last Monday, on the 16th, I got a call saying my sister was dead, and it was self-harm. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't want her to die, but I could care less about her well-being at the same time. We just got her self-harm note, and she explained how she felt so guilty for falling in love with my husband and betraying me, but she couldn't help her feelings for him. She said she can't continue to live this way, knowing everyone hates her and especially me, and she knows she shouldn't feel this way because I was the one that was betrayed. I don't believe it. I think the real reason she did it is because he doesn't want to see her anymore. I know my sister, and when she falls hard. Picture Cassie from Euphoria. Besides, since everything came to light, she would text him begging for him to talk to her and sending voicemails about how she needed him to talk to her, or she'd end herself. My husband sent me a screenshot every time she texted. She even let me listen to the voicemail. I don't plan on going to her funeral, and I don't plan on letting my parents hear that voice message, because they're already a huge wreck. They won't bother me about not going, and they understand why. They will be paying for all the funeral arrangements. As far as my husband, I still love him so deeply, but I hate him at the same time. Part of me wants to try to work it out just despite that deadbeat, and the other part has morals. I can't picture my life without him, but every time I see him, I picture him with her, and I refuse to live the rest of my life torturing myself like that. I just needed to get this off my chest since she just died, So I can't really talk to anybody in the real world like this. TLDR, when I found out my husband was having a 2-year-long affair with my sister, I reacted with rage. My sister was shunned by the community and peers, resulting in her committing self-harm shortly after. My husband has been stalking me and begging for my forgiveness. She wrote a self-harm note, which was basically an apology to me, but I don't believe it. Update, I'm going to answer some questions because people are being really nasty towards me, or simply not comprehending what I wrote and how I wrote it. 1. Why aren't you angry with your husband? Why did he get off so easily? I am angry with him. I burnt his clothes. I even spit in his face, and that is the most disrespectful thing you can do to a person. Was it wrong? Yes, but I did it. Plus, I'm 5 feet 4 inches, 140 pounds, to his 6 feet 3 inches, 230 pounds. It is not physically possible for me to kick his ass the way I did my sister, who is the same height and weight as me. Also, he did receive a lot of backlash, but he chose to accept the backlash he got and face it head on. Most of this backlash came from people that knew and loved me. A lot of his male friends didn't shun him because, I don't know, they're men, I guess. His friends could care less that he slept with his wife's sister. I do still love him because love doesn't just go away after 9 years together because of a heartbreak. But I will be devoted to him, and the courts will rule in my favor because of all the evidence I have from the cheating. 2. You and your family have been abusing your sister for years because you assaulted her and your mom slapped her. This one really got to me. No, my parents were never abusive towards me or my sister. We never got a spanking of any kind growing up. My mother slapping my sister was the first time she had ever laid her hands on anyone. Was it wrong? Yes, but talking about my mother like she's the devil's incarnate for one slap to the face for an unforgivable act is nowhere near as bad as what I did to her. Yeah, I attacked her because, like I said in a comment, I reacted with a fit of rage. I saw only red, hence why I spit in my husband's face. It was wrong to attack her, and it certainly isn't my proudest moment. I'm not a violent person, but I did choose violence because I have never experienced a hurt or betrayal that severe. In that exact moment, I thought with my emotions and not logic. I do feel bad for attacking her, and if I could change it, I would. But I can't. You drove your sister to self-harm by bullying her, and why did the community shun her, but not your husband? I didn't make this clear in my post, but I did not once bash or bully her online. The most I did to her was attack her in my parents' home. I was not behind any backlash she received for her actions. Did I try to stop the backlash? No, I didn't. I knew it was going on and didn't care to stop it or defend her. I was not going to defend her for sleeping with my husband. I thought she should deal with the consequences of her actions. I guess the real reason for that, even though I can admit it, is because women are always the first to be slut-shamed. If you sleep with your sister's husband, you're AW. If a man sleeps with his wife's sister, then he's a cheater. I hate double standards as much as the next person, but people will always act like it whether we like it or not. And no, she never tried to text or reach out to me to explain why she did it or apologize, which is the main reason. I didn't believe the note. 4. You went to her apartment. What were you going to do if she opened the door? I know what I would not have done. I had no intentions of attacking her physically again. I did that already, but I did have questions. I wanted to know why, how long, and what he was not telling me that she could. I asked all these questions on the outside of the door, but I don't blame her for not opening the door because I wasn't knocking softly or asking my questions in a very nice tone. Once again, I had no intention of assaulting her again. And the reason I used a throwaway with a random avatar is because the same people who shunned her are the same people who believe she was truly sorry because, ending herself proves it, so I can't vent to everyone in the real world. Yes, my sister is dead. No, the grief hasn't hit me yet. My husband isn't the only one who broke my heart and trust. My sister did too. She wasn't some random woman who didn't know he was a married man. She was my blood sibling who attended our wedding, slept with him the day before my wedding, and continued to do so. Call me evil all you want, but I don't believe she was sorry for what she did to me. I think she was sorry for not just getting caught but also for the consequences that came with it because if I had never gone through his phone, I never would have seen that text, and I never would have known. This could have gone on with them for another 2+ years without me knowing a thing. She would still be alive, yes, but she was screwing my husband while waiting to have him all to herself. Also, I did type something really harsh. I am not going to retype it, but I do still love my sister just as I still love my husband, but I won't be forgiving him for what he did to my family, And I'm not sure how anybody honestly got from my lack of grief that I was celebrating my sister's death. No, I am not glad she died, but I am not sad. That grief will hit sooner or later, I don't know when, but it will, and I made the decision to attend her funeral tomorrow. I'm not going with the intention of ruining everyone with a full-blown tantrum. People read a few sentences and think they know what type of person I am.